I missed my period for a month. The male doctor across from me asked. Besides me, have you been with any other man? I flared up. Who the hell are you? He raised an eyebrow. Your husband. Don't recognize me? After returning from a business trip, I took a leave to visit the hospital because my period was late by a month. Sitting in the consultation room, I watched as the male doctor on the other side of the desk lowered his head to write. Sunlight filtered through the lush green leaves, casting dappled patterns on his minimalist white coat. The crisp collar and neatly knotted tie exuded a cool, ascetic aura. The room was silent. He sat upright in front of the computer, his tall frame blocking the sunlight from the window, outlining his broad shoulders and slim waist. "Tell me, what's going on?" he asked, head still lowered, his voice calm and businesslike. I quickly looked away from his hands, straightened my back nervously, and forced myself to speak. I haven't had my period for a month. My stomach cramps sometimes. I hope it's not some gynecological issue." Suddenly, he glanced at me over his glasses. His sharp brows and eyes were hidden behind the lenses, his tall nose above thin, tightly pressed lips. At that moment, he looked rather displeased with this unlucky patient sitting before him. "Besides me, have you been with any other man?" I froze for a second before realizing that this impeccably dressed male doctor was hitting on me. Sure, there are many ways to flirt, but using your professional position to tease a married woman, that's just gross. Furious and humiliated, I snapped. "Who the hell are you? How can you talk to a patient like that?" His pen paused. Pushing up his glasses, he finally looked up and calmly said, "Your husband. Don't recognize me?" I shot up from my seat, grabbed my purse, my face burning. "I have a husband. Don't talk nonsense." Just a month ago, I had gotten my marriage certificate. But he calmly capped his pen and leaned back in his swivel chair, arms crossed, studying me with an amused look that suggested he was enjoying the show. My tone faltered as I stammered, "Careful, or I'll file a complaint." Before I could finish, my eyes landed on a photo in the corner of his desk. I froze. It was an enlarged wedding photo. In the picture, I was grinning like a flower, and standing next to me was this very stern-looking doctor. Holy crap! I had completely forgotten that I flash married this man a month ago. The marriage happened very suddenly. I'm a fairly well-known shoujo manga artist, signed to an agency, traveling everywhere for inspiration. The marriage was arranged by my parents. I only remembered that my husband worked at a hospital, was 4 years older than me, had a good personality, and was family-oriented. My parents always had good judgment, so I blindly agreed to register the marriage. The very next day, I left the province for work and only just returned after a month. We hadn't even held a wedding banquet yet. Now, here I was, standing in dead silence before the very man I had so carelessly abandoned. Like a guilty student, I clasped my hands together and sheepishly said, "Honey, turns out he worked in gynecology. Had I known, I would have contacted him beforehand instead of creating such an awkward scene. And was I really just staring at him just now? Would he think I was some random woman who ogles handsome guys on the street?" Luke's gaze grew heavier, as if waiting for my explanation. Just then, the door was slammed open by security. "Dr. Luke, who's filing a complaint?" His expression turned a little playful as he looked at me, almost as if to say, "Weren't you going to complain? Go ahead." Mortified, I covered my face and bowed in front of the stunned security guard. "Sorry, he's my husband. I didn't recognize him." By the time we left the hospital, it was nearly evening. After doing the exam, he was now pulling my suitcase ahead of me. My mum, hearing the whole story over the phone, started scolding me furiously. "You just got married and already left him for a business trip? You might as well stay single. Making money all day long, what's the use? Our kid's going to pop out of thin air." Feeling guilty, I glanced at Luke and covered the phone mic. "Stop yelling! I'm already nervous enough." "He's your husband. What's there to be nervous about?" Be proactive tonight. I want a grandchild before the year's over. I wasn't against having kids, but first I had to get him to forgive me. After being gone for a month, I came back and almost filed a complaint against him. Now I was even being all touchy-feely with him at night. Where was my dignity? Besides, a guy this handsome who turns heads everywhere probably just sees me as a convenient excuse. How could he possibly want to share a roof with me for real? Suddenly, Luke turned to me and asked, "What do you want to eat?" Startled, I hurriedly ended my mum's call and obediently replied, "I want to go home and eat your cooking." The moment I said it, I wanted to bite my tongue. What home? Who's cooking? What kind of relationship did I think we had? Luke looked a bit surprised, then chuckled softly. "All right, get in the car." He had bought the apartment we were supposed to live in, but I had never even visited. It was rush hour, and the traffic jammed quickly. Luke kept his eyes on the road, not saying much. Suddenly, I received a text from my editor. "Jenny, the teaser for Home Sweet Home is already out. You better get that cover character done tonight. We can't afford to lose this one." My real name is Jennifer. Jenny is my pen name. My bold, vibrant art style had attracted a decent following, and my 2D male leads sold well overseas. I replied helplessly, "Boss, I've got no inspiration for the male lead. I don't want every guy to look exactly the same." A few seconds later, he sent a voice message. I tapped play, not suspecting a thing, and his signature raspy voice boomed. "Use your husband for reference. Observe him tonight. Learn, and give the fans something juicy. Didn't you once say that if you got married, you'd squeeze every bit of value out of your husband to make money?" Panicked, I hit pause, but my phone screen froze, like it died. The blaring horns outside suddenly fell silent, as if on cue. The car became unnervingly quiet. Stiff as a puppet, I slowly turned my head to see Luke's glasses resting loosely on his nose, his profile perfectly sculpted. His long index finger was rhythmically tapping the steering wheel, eyes focused ahead, the faintest trace of a smirk on his lips, a mocking one. He had not only heard it, but understood everything. Heat surged up my face in waves, filling the entire car with my embarrassment. Luke suddenly loosened his tie and unbuttoned the top of his shirt, revealing 2 defined collarbones and a smooth, elegant neckline. The air seemed to grow hotter. My mouth went dry as the setting sun's rays fell on my black dress, igniting a strange, prickling sensation on my skin. "Have you stared enough?" He broke my daze with a polite smile. I blinked and forced out an explanation. "I draw manga." "Yeah, I know," Luke said flatly, the platinum ring I had randomly picked out glinting on his ring finger. My hands were empty. I must have found the ring too tight earlier and took it off. In the suffocating silence, I turned anxiously and blurted out, "All my male leads come from my own imagination. I've never used real people's reference." He cleared his throat and turned his head slightly. "Yeah, I've seen your work. The anatomy is quite perfect." The words got stuck in my throat. I wanted to die. By anatomy, he was probably referring to those long-legged hunks in nothing but pants. Though Luke's face remained calm, I caught a hint of helpless teasing in his expression. He was mocking me again. Aren't doctors supposed to be busy? Why was he even reading my comics? Analyzing anatomy, no less. I decided to shut up and silently counted the seconds. After an unbearably long wait, the car finally pulled out of traffic and into an upscale neighborhood, surrounded by lush greenery and fountains. As I got out of the car, the gentle evening breeze couldn't quite ease the chill inside me. I followed behind Luke, each step feeling like I was walking on blades. Sure, he was an objectively attractive man, highly educated, from a wealthy family, but I'd been single for years. This was my first time spending the night at a strange man's home. Legally, though, what should I do? Sleep with him? Give my mum that grandchild by next year? Should I push him up against the wall as soon as we got inside? Step by step, I trailed behind the tall Luke, eyeing him like a predator. He lived on the second floor. As soon as the door opened, the living room lights turned on automatically. Luke bent down and pulled out a pair of delicate women's slippers from the shoe cabinet, his casual posture outshining any male lead in my comics. His physique was flawless. Inspiration struck me instantly. Seeing me frozen at the door, Luke casually carried my suitcase inside. The place was spotlessly clean, reflecting his own style. Sharp, simple, minimalist. I briefly calculated my odds of pinning him down, but with our height difference, it seemed unlikely. "There's a set of keys on the right. They're yours." After reminding me, he walked deeper into the apartment. My mind lingered on the graceful curve of his back when he bent down. I quickly kicked off my shoes, dragged my suitcase into the study, and buried myself inside. Through the glass window of the study, I could see Luke busy in the bright, spacious kitchen. His broad shoulders stood firm, his white shirt tinged pink by the setting sun. His toned forearms moved skillfully under the faucet. The silver-framed glasses added a hint of ascetic charm. I couldn't help but think of my script, the cold, aloof doctor in a suit with long legs. Slender when dressed, muscular when undressed. And then my editor's words echoed, "Go big." I slumped into the chair and printed out my checklist, sticking it to the screen as a reminder. My job was to cater to market tastes. The face. Let's just base it on Luke. He was insanely handsome and fit perfectly into the aesthetic heartthrob archetype that sold so well. His legs were indeed long, exactly what the fans wanted. As for the abs, I hadn't seen them, so I used my imagination to craft a more alluring body. Firm waistline, round, perky butt, tailored suit pants revealing a hint of black socks, polished leather shoes, and a fitted white coat. In the draft, the cold, elegant man sat lazily in a boss chair with one leg crossed over the other, his eyes sharp and distant. I smiled in satisfaction and sent a screenshot to my editor, adding a helpful note. "Boss, should I make the butt rounder? It'll make the waistline more seductive." I waited about 5 minutes but received no reply. Exhausted, I opened the chat window. The image wasn't there. Our conversation still showed his last message urging me to meet the deadline. My head buzzed. Oh God, who did I send it to? Please don't let it be my parents. I still want to live. I scrolled frantically and finally found the image in my chat with Luke. Along with that, overly enthusiastic suggestion for modifications. What the hell did I just do? The study door slammed open as I dashed out with messy hair, praying Luke was still busy in the kitchen and hadn't seen the message. But the scene before me was a steaming dinner spread of 4 dishes and soup on the table. Luke, wearing an apron, had his shirt sleeves rolled up, revealing his toned forearms. Both hands rested on the table as his long fingers swiped across his phone, the screen reflecting the bold, risque, ascetic heartthrob design. Thump. That was the sound of my heart stopping. He seemed to be typing. Soon after, my phone dinged. Luke replied, Okay, what? The rounder butt?" Luke slowly looked up, his expression unreadable. "Weren't you hungry? Come eat." I had no idea how I made it over there. I sat down like a zombie, head lowered awkwardly. Even without looking up, I could feel his heavy gaze. I'm dead. I just told him my work was all imagination, and now he'd caught me using him as reference. How was I supposed to explain this? "I wouldn't mind if you measured in person," Luke said, out of nowhere as I was drinking my soup, causing me to choke so hard my eyes teared up. I clutched my mouth in horror, blushing from head to toe like a cooked shrimp. Was he seriously this bold? Luke pushed his phone toward me, his gaze sharp and serious. "Since you're using me as a model, you should at least be accurate." His fingertip landed on his chest, exposed through 2 undone buttons. I let out a shaky laugh. "Got it!" After dinner, while Luke was doing the dishes, I slipped into the bedroom, planning to shower before he finished. But after feeling around the wall for ages, I couldn't find the light switch. Was this some kind of high-tech setup? Maybe I didn't have access. The room was pitch black, Just as I was about to leave, Luke's voice suddenly came from behind me. "Why don't you go in?" His warm breath brushed against the back of my neck, making the tiny hairs stand on end. I shrank my neck, startled, and turned around in a panic. Drops of water clung to Luke's shirt, sticking to his chest. He towered over me, looking down with a faint sense of pressure. I instantly felt like a kid caught red-handed and quickly apologized. "Sorry, I must have walked into the wrong. You're not in the wrong room." Luke stopped me from closing the door, pushing it open with firm strength, slowly backing me into the bedroom, until his tall frame blocked the living room light completely. Darkness engulfed us. My vision weakened while my other senses heightened. He stood very close, his presence overwhelming. I lowered my head like an ostrich, too afraid to speak. "Go change your clothes." For a moment, I thought he was going to kiss me. My face burned as I stammered. "My clothes are in my suitcase. There are some in the wardrobe." "Get them." Luke didn't budge, blocking the way. With nowhere else to go, I groped my way to the wardrobe, randomly pulled open a drawer, and reached in. It was soft, smooth. Did I own anything like this? Ultra-thin fabric. Luke leaned against the doorframe, casually reminding me, "That's my drawer." I suddenly realized what the smooth, cool fabric in my hand was, and yanked my hand back as if electrocuted. My ears burning. "Sorry." Luke let out a light chuckle but didn't turn on the lights. Instead, he leaned there, clearly enjoying the show. He was definitely getting back at me. I quickly pulled open the drawer next to it, grabbed a few pieces of clothing, and darted into the bathroom. It seemed like he had fully prepared for my stay. Shampoo, conditioner, body lotion, all brand new. The toothbrushes and towels came in couples sets. I tried to wash away the heat from my body, but the more I washed, the hotter I felt. Finally, I gave up, dried my hair, and prepared to come out. When I unfolded the clothes, I realized it was an oversized shirt. Water from my hair had soaked a large patch of the fabric, and the underwear I thought I'd grab turned out to be a pair of black stockings. The combination of water and the shirt was nothing but suggestive. I, Jennifer, had never been this embarrassed in my life. Hiding in the bathroom, I frantically messaged my best friend for help. She replied, "Ha ha ha! Are you insane? You want me to run miles just to rescue you from the bathroom?" Slumped in defeat, wearing Luke's shirt with my damp chest and holding the stockings, I begged, "If you don't come, I'll die. Come on, he's your husband. What's there to be shy about? Just wear it. I promise you'll be fine." I slapped my forehead in agony. "I can't." "Can't what?" "Can't throw yourself at him." "Jennifer, when you were 23, you wrote in your journal that you wanted to have a baby at 26. You've got exactly 10 months left before your 27th birthday. The timing is perfect. If you don't make a move now, should I just tie Luke up and throw him into your bed?" I'm the kind of person who's easily brainwashed. With just a few words, she stirred up my sense of mission. "I'm 26 already, is it wrong to want a child? Anyway, we're legally married. What's wrong with being a little bold?" I pushed open the steamy bathroom door. Only a dim wall lamp lit the living room, making everything hazy. Suddenly, my dead memories attacked me. Countless scenes of female comic leads flashed through my mind, followed by those blush-worthy, censored scenarios. I regretted everything. I chickened out. I ran toward the bedroom, but just as I was about to enter, I crashed into someone's chest. The faint scent of disinfectant instantly surrounded me. "What's the rush?" His husky voice melted into the night, the warm yellow light adding an air of intimacy. My heart pounded uncontrollably, like I'd been injected with adrenaline. "You're feeling hot? Isn't my shirt cooling enough?" His voice brushed against my ear, the humidity swirling inside my ear canal. "Or is it because you're wearing an extra layer?" I couldn't break free. My mind went blank. I was wrong. "Please let me go." I managed to squeeze out the words, my body trembling with each of Luke's breaths. He seemed to be luring me. "Dr. Luke, help me. I don't have any strength left. He chuckled. We've barely started. You're hopeless. My forehead rested on his shoulder, my body too weak to support itself. Suddenly, Luke tightened his arms, scooped me up, and laid me gently onto the soft bed. As my back touched the mattress, his fiery kiss followed. In my mind, I saw my best friend giving me a thumbs up, fireworks exploding in my head. Faced with his teasing and seduction, I surrendered completely. But just as I was ready to continue, Luke's phone rang. He steadied his breathing and answered, his voice slightly hoarse. Got it. I'll head back right away. I stared at him in disbelief as he quickly dressed, covering up all my hard work under his shirt. I protested in frustration. You're leaving! Luke leaned down, kissed me, and said regretfully, Wifey, someone else needs saving. I suddenly realized he was mimicking my fan's nickname for me. I froze for a second. Luke smiled. Wait for me. We'll continue when I get back. My resentful expression amused him. He tucked his tie into my hand and bent down. Help me tie it. I wasn't very good at it, worried I'd slow him down and mess it up. But he didn't mind. He gently kissed my fingertips, his charming eyes gliding over my blushing cheeks as he chuckled and headed out. I was later woken by a work call. The morning light seeped through the tightly shut curtains, casting patterns on my pillow. At exactly 9 a.m., still half asleep, I answered the phone. My editor was fuming on the other end. Did you leak the manuscript? The words, leak the manuscript, shot me upright in bed. My hair was a mess, my body sore and aching. Every movement made me wince. No. He was furious. Then how did a rookie artist named Janny post your draft from last night? What? I opened the link and fell silent. The picture I'd sent to Luke and my editor last night had been slightly modified and uploaded to social media. The comments section was buzzing. Mrs. Jenny, is this your secret account? Totally Jenny's art style. Waiting for more updates. While I was still stunned, Jenny's account posted a new blog. At Mrs. Jenny, I'm your fan and have been mimicking your work for years, but this piece was inspired by my ex-boyfriend. I want him back and hope to get your and everyone's support. In no time, the comments were overwhelmingly supportive. Blessings. Hope you last forever. At Mrs. Jenny, come play matchmaker. Haha, Mrs. Jenny really has matchmaker energy. I met my husband at your book signing. Your wishes always come true. Janny's profile read, I still love you. My editor kept ranting, but then Janny replied to a top comment. Thanks for the blessings. I'm on my way to meet him now. Wish me luck. At that moment, I hung up without hesitation. This time, I had a very clear goal. Check on Luke. As usual, Luke's clinic was bustling. After stating my reason for coming, I was directed to a staff lounge. It was work hours, so the room was mostly empty. Facing the mirror, I tugged at my loose V-neck shirt, revealing a few hickeys. Not enough, not nearly enough. The enemy was lurking in the dark, while I was out in the open. The best strategy was to declare my territory and lure out the shameless thief. As for how the picture was leaked, one possibility, Luke forwarded it. Second possibility, either my computer or my editor's was hacked. The contract was already signed. My editor had sent the draft to the client. If someone else leaked it first, it would cause massive damage to the project. So we agreed to stay silent until we figured things out. Either way, the breakthrough lay with Luke. Suddenly, the door opened. A fair-skinned, beautiful female doctor walked in. She was startled to see me sitting on the couch. Excuse me, you are? I quickly stood up. Hello, I'm Dr. Luke's wife, Jennifer. Her eyes widened with sudden realization. Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Jessica. Jessica eagerly sat across from me, her beautiful eyes sizing me up. You're prettier than all the girls I've seen who tried to chase him. Huh? Luke had that many admirers? She read my confusion and smiled. He didn't get the title of campus heartthrob in med school for nothing. It seemed she knew quite a bit about Luke's past. I suddenly got bold. So, did he have any ex-girlfriends? Jessica sipped her coffee, thought for a long moment, and apologized. Sorry, I really don't know much about his personal life. My probing failed, and I awkwardly sipped my tea. By now, Luke should be coming back soon. Jessica suddenly pointed at a young girl walking by. A few days ago, she brought flowers to Luke. Who? An old patient of his. She's been coming for years, pretty frequently too. Bringing flowers, that's no big deal, right? My editor often sends us flowers as well. Jessica shook her head helplessly. It's always 4 red roses. Do you know what 4 means? I shook my head. Eternal love. Jessica finished her coffee. Just then, someone called for her. She slipped into her shoes and briskly walked out, leaving me deep in thought as I checked my phone. After a full morning of fermentation, Janny's comment section was blowing up. More and more people were tagging me. Soon after, my boss sent me a draft. This is the competitor's newly released shoujo manga preview. They signed Janny, and even used your male lead as their promo poster. It's blatant plagiarism. Jenny, do you have any suspects? I paused and asked, is it possible someone planted a virus on my husband's phone? We both fell silent. At this point, that seemed more likely. Meanwhile, the comment section was on fire. The male lead is a doctor! Can't wait for some uniform play. Go, go, go! You're my favorite, ma'am. The new wave is outshining the old. Am I the only one who thinks Janny's style is much more mature? Jenny's pretty mature too. Come on, she's a rookie and already rivals Jenny. The stronger one is obvious now. Damn, she just posted a half-naked bath scene. I quickly switched over to check. She had completely copied my art style, replicating Luke's every detail, including his scars and birthmarks. My mood collapsed. As much as I hated to admit it, something was definitely going on. About half an hour later, Luke finally walked in. Still wearing his white coat, tied perfectly in place. After a full night's work, he looked a bit tired. He took off his glasses and came straight to me. What's wrong? I was already feeling aggrieved, and now even more angry. I grabbed his tie and yanked him closer. I'm here to check up on you. Luke leaned into the couch, letting me pull him close. The veins on his forearms bulged under his shirt. Without his glasses, his bewitching dark eyes locked onto my face, stirring ripples in my heart. He always had this cold face that easily made me blush. Give me your phone. He handed it over. No password. My mood soured as I opened his messages. There were tons of pinned chats, colleagues, patients, but not a single personal post in his social feed. Sensing my mood shift, Luke asked, "What's wrong? Do you have an ex-girlfriend?" "No," he answered firmly. "Relax. Both my body and heart are clean. I've belonged entirely to you since our engagement." I held up Janny's post. "Then why is your ex coming after me?" He squinted and read carefully, his eyes sharp. "Leave it to me." "Huh? You know her?" "Not sure yet," Luke said, wrapping his arm around my waist to steady me. "But one thing you can be sure of, I don't have an ex. I'll fully pursue accountability." "How do I know you're not just sweet-talking me?" Luke smiled. "Husband and wife are a community of shared interests. Since I enjoy the rights of a husband, I should fulfill the obligations too." He didn't call me sweet names like baby or darling, but every word was like a reassurance, instantly calming my panic. "Oh, so last night, you were just exercising your rights," I grumbled. Luke curved his lips. "You exercised yours too, and seemed to enjoy it quite a bit." My face flushed bright red as I shooed him away. "Go back to work. I'm heading home." On the way home, my boss called. "Jenny, you still have your original drafts, right? The company will release a legal statement tonight. But I should warn you, you'll probably get a lot of malicious DMs in the short term. Just ignore them." "Got it. We won't compromise with plagiarists." His words gave me strength. This was my first time facing something like this. I had no experience, just taking it, one step at a time. At 8 p.m., after everyone finished dinner, I released a statement. Janny's character designs were my original work. I included my sketches and timeline. This was theft, please delete and apologize. The internet exploded. Jenny versus Janny, and Janny plagiarism, shot to the top of the trending charts. I guessed my boss spent quite a bit buying those trending spots. With my drafts as evidence, people demanded Janny release her own timeline. As expected, she couldn't. By day 3, the hype started to cool down. The story seemed to end in victory, but that evening, my boss suddenly called, "Jenny, can you take down the statement?" I instantly sensed the apology in his voice. Why? The two companies reached an agreement. You'll both co-produce the manga, but the condition is no public infighting or negative PR. In business, there are no permanent enemies, only shared interests. Though I knew the rule well, I couldn't help feeling bitter. I sighed. Fine. Have her apologize to me in private. I won't make a fuss. I meant her stealing my artwork. As for her entanglement with Luke, that was personal, and I wouldn't drag it into the public eye. After a long silence, my boss sighed. "Jenny, we need you to apologize." My head buzzed. I forced a laugh. "Boss, did you hit your head? Why should I apologize? If the manga's going to launch smoothly, it can't be tied to any plagiarism scandals. So even though she stole my work, for the sake of mutual profit, I had to admit I was the one who wrongfully accused her. My heart ached, my eyes welled up. "Boss, you know full well what it means if I apologize." I lowered my head, feeling a surge of grievance. "Are you trying to destroy me? If I couldn't prove my case, I'd become a laughingstock, a punching bag for everyone. I'd face endless insults, even personal threats and attacks. Jenny, we'll hire PR teams to control public opinion. They're offering double the manuscript fee. You've been with me the longest, and none of us want the worst outcome. Think it over and give me your answer tomorrow morning." My boss seemed busy and hung up quickly. I knew this was the best deal he could get me. Even if I refused, they still had ways to twist black into white. But I never expected that before morning came, the other side would strike first. Janny publicly released a timeline identical to mine. "I haven't plagiarized anyone. If Mrs. Jenny minds, I can change my art style." Suddenly, a flood of comments appeared below. "At Jenny, this isn't right. Are you jealous? What a sour loser, afraid of being outshined by a junior. The style's great, don't change it, piss her off." "I'm an insider. The two companies have agreed to collaborate. Both artists will work together. Jenny's just bullying the newcomer, but fans aren't buying it." Soon after, the production company released an official statement confirming the insider's claims the two companies were officially collaborating. I didn't know who leaked my contact info, but the calls started flooding in one after another, followed by countless texts, most of them insults. In the end, I had to turn off my phone and collapse onto the bed. I wanted to sleep, but couldn't. When Luke got home, I was lying motionless under the covers, with an unsent apology email pulled up on my computer. He changed his clothes and walked into the bedroom. The familiar scent of disinfectant made me open my eyes. "Jennifer, what do you want for dinner?" I mumbled softly. "I don't want anything." Sensing something was wrong, Luke walked around to my bedside, pushed back my messy hair, and frowned. "Why are you crying?" "They want me to apologize," I said dryly, then suddenly broke down in tears. "I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I apologize?" Luke glanced at the computer screen, his expression growing colder. With his high intelligence, he quickly pieced together what had happened. "I was at the hospital all day, and you were being bullied all day." His tone wasn't exactly gentle, sharp, and a bit harsh. What could I do? Even my boss gave in. How can I fight them? Without saying a word, Luke pressed the cancel button and discarded the draft. "I spent an hour writing that. Why did you delete it?" I sniffled, my voice stuffy. "There's still hope if we manage public opinion well." Luke closed the laptop. "Jennifer, don't worry. I'll handle it. My eyelashes were wet, and my hands wandered aimlessly over him. Will this affect your job? He's a doctor, the last profession that should get tangled in public scandals. If this affected him, I'd feel terribly guilty. We're a community of shared interests. We rise and fall together. Suddenly, I recalled my best friend's catchphrase. Shouldn't you give him a baby and add him to the family tree? Maybe even 3. I sat on the edge of the bed, hugging my knees, sulking. Honestly, even 3 wouldn't be enough. I'd give him a whole squad. Come on, let's eat. Luke pulled me up from the bed and wiped my tears. Come on, let's eat. I mustered some courage and said, Honey, I don't want to eat. He couldn't understand my sudden, righteously firm tone and patiently asked, Then what do you want to do? I suddenly jumped off the bed, locked the bedroom door with a click, grabbed his tie, pulled him in, and pinned his shoulders against the wall. Luke raised an eyebrow, slowly removed his watch, his eyes glinting with amusement. Not hungry? I fumbled to undo his tie. I want to make it up to you. He held my hands, his gaze darkening. Jennifer, I have quite the appetite, and when I'm hungry, my temper's not so great. Oh, I answered absent-mindedly, still fiddling with his tie. I won't be so nice later, you know. I glared at him, ignoring his warning. Why won't this tie come off? Suddenly, Luke took charge, sliding his fingers into my hair, tilting my head toward him. The heat of his touch overwhelmed my senses like flames licking through my nerves. First a tingling numbness, then a ticklish warmth. He guided my fingers to undo the tie, then slowly moved down to his belt. Jennifer, I'm only teaching you once. If you can't undo it next time, I won't help. With the crisp clink of the metal buckle, I was already lost in the sheets, breathing lightly from nervousness, my limbs weak and limp. Luke wasn't planning to let me off easy. He pressed my hands against him, mimicking the fan's words. Wifey, should we add some extra details to the male lead's body? My cheeks flushed, eyes glistening with moisture. Add what? His gaze implied everything. You've experienced it firsthand, don't you know? I nodded quickly. He continued, What about the female lead? My voice was barely a kitten's mewl. He slowed his pace, guiding my sluggish mind step by step into the trap he had set. Why don't we use you as the prototype, I felt like I was drowning, my brain short-circuited as I stammered my consent. Luke kissed me. Very good, wifey. I like pure little bunnies. Don't forget to draw it. His hand slid down my back, and I melted once again. Satisfied, Luke whispered in my ear, Wifey, let's make up for our wedding night tonight. After enduring online harassment, I didn't dare leave the house for several days. Luke got me a new SIM card and phone with only a few close contacts. He pinned himself to the top. One evening, I got his text. Dinner tonight. Who's going? My department colleagues. I hesitated. Sensing my reluctance, he added, The restaurant's nice and not too crowded. I'll be drinking tonight. If you don't come, no one will bring me home. He successfully convinced me. An hour later, I appeared downstairs in the complex, wearing the pale yellow dress Luke had given me, elegant with a hint of playfulness. My long hair was pinned up, and our wedding ring gleamed on my finger. Luke got out of the car, his eyes scanning me like unwrapping a delicate present. Where are your colleagues? I jogged over. They're already inside. He held the back of my neck and kissed me. You look beautiful. I'll be careful tonight. I instinctively shrank my neck to dodge his warm breath. What are you doing? Luke chuckled and patted me. Get in the car. The city centre was as congested as always. The window was half open, letting in the gentle evening breeze, easing my heavy mood. I've handed my phone over to the tech investigation team. While waiting at a red light, Luke handed me an ice cream. Let's just wait for their findings. I had thought Luke's way of helping would be to negotiate with Janny for a settlement. But I didn't expect him to hand his phone straight to the police, track Janny's IP, and end this crazy online battle with an official blue and white report. The streets were packed with cars. Luke leaned back slightly, bathed in the fading sunset, his gaze tender. When money clouds your mind, right and wrong seem irrelevant. It's normal. He paused. But I want you to know that good and evil still exist. I'll be the one to stand up for what's right. You don't have to be afraid. Just watch. I suddenly recalled our first blind date, when Luke sat across from me and said, "After we get married, I'll fulfill my responsibilities as a husband. I'll be busy, and might not offer you much emotional support, but I'll do my best." Maybe it was those honest words that touched me. When I returned from my business trip, it was mostly about physical attraction and the thrill of novelty. But now, under the half-setting sun, I truly fell for him. It was a deep, bone-level desire to spend the rest of my life with him. The red light blinked a few times before turning green. The traffic crawled like a slow-moving caterpillar. When we arrived at the restaurant, the place was packed with his colleagues. They were excited to see me, all standing up to greet us. I awkwardly touched my hair. "Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer, Dr. Luke's wife." The crowd cheered. "Luke, you never drank before. No more excuses tonight." Luke smiled. "With my wife here, I'll go with the flow." The dinner wasn't as formal as I had imagined. The usually serious doctors were noisy and rowdy. They kept trying to get Luke to drink, and he didn't refuse. I watched him anxiously, secretly squeezing his hand under the table. "Are you okay?" Luke held my hand tightly and didn't let go, all while casually chatting with everyone else. Suddenly, I heard someone mention Jessica and looked over. "Jessica didn't come?" One of Luke's colleagues was surprised. "You know Jessica?" I nodded. "We met once," he sighed. "She got into a fight a few days ago. That old patient of Luke's. She's recuperating at home." "Was it that young girl who kept bringing him roses?" Luke squeezed my hand and whispered in my ear, "Jennifer, there's nothing between me and her." Of course I believed him, though I still felt uneasy. "Why did she hit someone?" Luke's colleague chuckled. "Probably obsessed with Luke like a crazed fan. Jessica works with Luke occasionally. She's pretty too, so it's no surprise someone targeted her." "Don't scare her." Luke gently squeezed my palm, his gaze a bit hazy. "Jennifer, let's go home." I nodded, helped him up, and told everyone, "Sorry, we'll head out first. Thanks for the dinner. You're all welcome to visit our place sometime." They were all familiar with each other and didn't insist we stay. They helped me get Luke into the car and reminded me to drive safe. As we left the restaurant courtyard, Luke leaned back in his seat, eyes closed. "Has she really been bothering you for years?" I couldn't help but ask. Luke half opened his eyes and turned to me. "Not exactly bothering. She had a tough family situation. I pitied her and covered some medical bills. After she graduated college and started working, she'd occasionally bring me flowers. Could it be her?" Luke thought for a moment. "As far as I know, she has no drawing skills." True. I trained for years to get where I am. Someone with no drawing skills couldn't have stolen my art, modified it, and even replicated my style to create a second piece. I started to suspect that maybe our rival company hired a professional to sabotage my boss. The car stopped downstairs. Only a small light nearby remained on. Suddenly, I noticed Luke was awake. The faint glow of his phone screen caught my eye. Curious, I leaned over and saw him browsing my old comics. Coincidentally, the male and female leads were also in a car. His eyes lowered. "Jennifer, have you ever tried this?" Normally, Luke would never say such a thing. Under the influence of alcohol, I froze for a second. Then Luke scooped me up, holding my waist under my dress. "You're crazy." I shyly tried to push him away, but he firmly held the back of my head, pressing my lips to his. "Yeah, young and crazy." I had imagined married life to be calm and peaceful, but in reality, it was far more overwhelming. Not long after, Jessica called, inviting me to lunch. I was surprised. On the phone, Jessica said, "I recently found out you're a famous manga artist. My friend loves your work and really wants to meet you." It was a good chance to check in on her after her injury. While Luke was at work, I took a taxi to Jessica's place. She lived in a wealthy neighborhood with few people around. Standing before a villa, I hesitantly rang the doorbell. Jessica came out herself to greet me. Her pale face now had a small bandage on her cheek. "How's your wound?" Jessica touched it and smiled helplessly. "It'll heal eventually, but let's not talk about that. My friend wants your autograph, so please sign a few." Jessica's villa was spacious. As soon as I entered, someone handed me slippers. The coffee table was already stacked with manga volumes. Jessica handed me a pen apologetically. "Sorry, there's a lot." "It's fine." I was grateful that someone still liked my work despite everything. Jessica brought me lots of snacks and sat cross-legged beside me, watching me sign attentively. The weather was hot, and I hadn't drunk any water, feeling a bit parched. Noticing my discomfort, Jessica suddenly jumped up. "I'm so sorry, I got too excited. Can you help me? The tea tray's too heavy for me to carry." I nodded, rubbed my sore arms, and stood up. At that moment, my phone lit up. It was a voice message from Luke. As Jessica poured boiling water into the teapot and struggled to lift the tray, I hurried over to help, while also greedily picking up my phone to listen to Luke's message as I walked. The first thing he said was, "Stay away from Jessica." I instinctively froze. At my pace, I would have already reached Jessica, but because of Luke's warning, I was a step late. As Jessica let go, the tray dropped, and the teapot full of boiling water missed my arm, splashing onto the floor instead. In the next second, the scalding water poured onto the top of my foot. After a brief numbness, sharp pain rushed into my brain. I clenched my teeth as cold sweat poured down. Jessica stood at a distance, silent. The housekeeper was the first to react. "Oh no, she's burned. Quick, run it under cold water. I'll call a car to take you to the hospital." Luke's call came in. I answered, leaning against the marble counter, unable to move, let alone get to water. "Hello? Jennifer, have you left Jessica's house yet?" I held back tears and shook my head. "No, I got burned." He exhaled sharply on the other end. "Wait for me." Jessica silently watched as the housekeeper bustled about, then went upstairs without saying a word. After a while, someone rushed inside. Luke hadn't even taken off his white coat. He picked me up and set me on the counter, pulled up my legs, and thrust them under the nearby sink, turning the water on full blast. The icy water eased the burning on my skin. After a moment of shock, I couldn't hold back and burst into tears. Luke held it in for a while, then cursed under his breath. "Didn't you see the hot water? Couldn't you move?" I tried, but I couldn't dodge. My voice was full of grievance. The veins on Luke's forehead bulged as he nearly lost it. Finally, he took a deep breath, asked the housekeeper for some ice, pressed it against my reddened skin, then carried me out the door. The car was already running. He placed me gently in the passenger seat, fastened my seatbelt, circled the car in silence, got in, and closed the door. Luke still seemed angry. I didn't dare speak. I sat there, feeling wronged and trying to endure the pain, tears falling silently. The car weaved through traffic and soon arrived at the hospital. Luke, still in his white coat, carried me on his back, a striking sight. The ER doctor recognized him. "Hey, what brings you here?" "Family member. Burn injury," he said succinctly. "I've already done basic first aid. There are blisters. She needs to be bandaged." The doctor checked quickly and sent me to get treated. When I was wheeled out, Luke was standing outside the glass doors on a call. His side profile looked colder than I'd ever seen, thin lips tightly pressed. As I got closer, I heard his icy voice. "I refuse any settlement. The harm she caused my wife can't be erased with apologies or compensation." "Luke," I called softly. He immediately looked down, clearly still half focused on the call, but naturally squatted to fix my skirt. He hung up, having rejected the offer. Meeting my eyes, I whispered, "I'm sorry for worrying you." Luke gently stroked my hair. his fingers brushing the corners of my reddened eyes. Does it still hurt? A little. I smiled and held out my arms. But luckily you came. Otherwise it would have hurt much more. A hint of warmth softened the darkness in his eyes. He crouched down. Come on, I'll carry you home. Later, I found out Jessica originally intended to pour the whole pot of boiling water on my arm to destroy my hand. Fortunately, Luke warned me just in time, avoiding disaster. While I was recovering, my boss called. Jennifer, Janny's been arrested. Actually, Jessica had been taken in that same day. Luke stood firm, refusing any settlement. Everything was handed over to the authorities. I exchanged a few polite words with my boss, but no longer felt close. Sensing my distance, he awkwardly said a few things before hanging up. I logged into my long-abandoned personal account and was immediately tagged in a trending topic. Apologized to Mrs. Jenny. News about Janny was everywhere, illegally stealing personal information. Now detained. As always, some people knew everything. Word is, it was Mrs. Jenny's husband who reported it. Janny was his colleague. Jessica had secretly loved Luke since college. Due to long-term emotional neglect, she developed psychological issues. No one expected she'd plant a virus in Luke's phone, spying on his private life to satisfy her twisted desires. Then, Luke married me. That completely broke her. Jessica stubbornly believed I stole Luke from her, so she plotted revenge to ruin me. Reportedly, she grew very emotional and asked to see Luke. He refused. Jessica may need psychiatric treatment, and the hospital has already dismissed her. As the long summer drew to a close, my comic finally launched on major platforms. This whole scandal had undeniably brought massive attention. Because the male lead was so vivid, people quickly linked him to Luke. Some fans even started shipping us as a real-life couple. One morning after an all-nighter, I was vomiting terribly in the bathroom. Luke had just gotten off his night shift and froze at the door. Jennifer, what's wrong? Still in his scrubs, he helped my weak body off the toilet and gave me some water. My nausea wouldn't let up. Dizzy and lightheaded, I collapsed onto the bed, vowing never to pull another all-nighter. I heard the security door open in the living room. Soon after, Luke returned carrying a plastic bag. Jennifer, take this. Though tired from his shift, his eyes were bright, filled with excitement. I hesitated. No way, I have irregular periods. But Luke stared at me, unmoving. Since we got married, he knew my cycle better than I did. I seriously suspected he'd secretly employed some highly effective fertility method. When I came out of the bathroom, I dumbly stood in front of him, holding up the test's two unmistakable lines. Before the joy even fully hit, Luke suddenly realized he'd be losing his post-night shift benefits. For the first time, I saw a conflicted expression on his face and burst out laughing. Frustrated, he pressed me down and kissed me hard for a long time, before silently heading to the kitchen to cook. Lying under the covers, I called both sets of parents to share the huge news. After hanging up, I noticed a rare update on my timeline. Luke, who never posted, had shared a photo of me sleeping peacefully with the caption, "Jennifer's expecting. She's mine."